Hey, welcome back. Hey, Garden Live for October. Glad you could join us. Phil, how are you?
Good morning, mate. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, loving it, mate. Look, sun's starting to come out a bit, we hope, in good sense, but good time to get out in the garden. We've got plenty of things we can talk about today. First thing, we just want to talk about the Panama 9-piece dining setting, which is your outdoor furniture, which is obviously coming into that season too. $16.99, $500 off. That's what we're sitting on our lovely thing today.
Quite comfortable.
Quite comfy. Yeah. Good weight loadings for our chairs, mate. So we're good. But more importantly, we're obviously here for Garden Live, which is obviously what we're all about. I'll kick us off with something that I've just planted in, which is the old tomato. So veggie season's here. So if you hadn't had a chance to turn your beds over, add some compost, mulch it, those sort of things, obviously get stuck in now because you want to get those good nutrients and good food into your soil as quickly as you can.
Absolutely.
And then planting away with some really good quality stock that we've got just in.
Weather's just starting to turn for us. We've had reasonable rainfall, so there should be plenty of moisture in the soil. So,
absolutely.
You're right. With the temperatures starting to rise up, it's perfect time to get out there now and get all this started.
I just shopped our tomato stock and veggie stock the other day, so it can definitely vouch for some really good quality product.
Yeah, well, you can see here, Sam. I just grabbed a few examples of what we've got available at the moment, and the tomatoes. I mean, they're pretty good size, isn't it?
Size.
So you could already start with something a bit more advanced like that. And then we've sort of got, what have we got? Zucchinis and strawberries.
Yeah, we're talking about strawberries. My kids love it. They love it.
Yeah, chilies, capsicums, and I mean, there's a massive selection out there at the moment. We get stock regularly through, so always plenty of choice.
And I went to, my kids are probably more into the your cherry tomato style, but we had a couple of different varieties out there, guys. So I grabbed exactly what you're saying, Phil. I grabbed two a little bit more established, and then we had a seedling punnet of some tomatoes, which I grabbed as well, obviously, which is sometimes a bit better value to give you, 4 per versus 1 per.
And staggers when you get the plants through. And
correct.
These advanced ones would be a few weeks ahead. So you start when these become ripe. You can start picking them up, and then eventually these ones will catch up, and so you're going to have this bountiful crop for months.
Oh, and nothing better than getting it out once you see all that. You put all the labour, put the effort into it, and then a few weeks' time, all of a sudden you start picking fruit off of it. Veggies and so forth off your plants. It's always really good fun.
And what were you saying about strawberries?
Oh, strawberries. Yeah, we had a bit of a talk before we come on live. But strawberries, I don't know what it is. I said, in my garden alone, you guys might be the same. But to be honest, there's no snails at all, right? Can't see any snails forever. As soon as I put strawberries in my veggie patch, snails. It's like, we were joking, it's like Mr. Turbo comes around and all of a sudden, whoosh, they're in overnight. So we've got this, which is David Gray's, which I actually have in my shed. So one of those ones where, again, it's pellet form, so just be careful with it. But as soon as you get your strawberries in, make sure that you're protecting them. So therefore, those little snails and sneaky things and grubs and so forth overnight that want to get in there and eat them, which can obviously, limit the amount of fruit you're going to get off, making sure that, you get on top of these sort of things from a pest control point of view straight away.
Absolutely. So with your snail pellets, there's a couple of different varieties you can get. So this is probably the most potent.
Yes.
But the key with using snail bait is not to spread it so thickly that all that you see is snail pellets.
Just a haze of green over the top of it. Yeah.
Really, 3 or 4 pellets would cover the size of that box.
Yeah, of course.
So you don't need to have heaps down.
Yeah.
The only other one I'd say that you'd sort of put a little bit thicker is that you can get iron-based ones.
Okay.
And they're more pet friendly.
Yeah.
These ones obviously can be poisonous, so you've got to make sure that no one eats them and your pets don't eat them. But the iron ones, they don't last quite as long, and like I say, you probably put them a bit more thick to make sure you get good coverage. But you make sure that you've got plenty around, and you'll protect your strawberries. And all those low-growing ones, cucumbers, zucchinis, anything
that sort of grows off the top.
You want to make sure that they're all covered with something like that.
We also got a couple of other things over here, like if you're thinking about, again, from a safe pest control, we've got the your organic versions as well. So we've got the Brunning Stream on action, but we've got this one here, which is your Eco Pest Oil, which is, again, more from an organic-based sort of product too, guys. So if you're sort of, again, mindful around what sort of chemicals you want to use in your garden and stuff like that, obviously chemicals do work and do have their place, but you've got organic pest controls, which will certainly help when it comes to controlling some grubs and insects of the like.
Yeah, and I think when we talk like pesticides, fungicides, those sorts of products in store, we try and make sure that we offer solutions that can do perhaps more than just one problem.
Yep.
And I'm a massive fan of using things like eco oil. Not only will it protect against things like scales and aphids, those sorts of pests, but under certain circumstances, it even helps to prevent things like some funguses and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, with damp weather still hanging around, we were talking about this off camera, fruit trees, roses, you're still seeing a little bit of that like mildew starting to form on the leaves, simply because the moisture is around for too long during the day. And products like this will simply give you a way of trying to prevent those things from spreading into the garden.
Yeah, cool. And then we were talking about, we've got, you know, like exactly you were saying, we've got a 3-in-1. So one of those things that, again, rather than having, you know, 3 separate different insecticides and pesticides in your shed, you get your running sort of product here, which is your 3-in-1 insecticide, fungicide, miticide. So again, not bad. Try and attack most things, or protect your veggies and plants against most pests that we have around the place.
Yeah, so it's important, like if that's something that you're looking at when you're coming into the store, make sure you just find one of the staff that's sort of down the garden centre end of the store.
Yep.
Just ask them, like in terms of what sprays that we've got, you know, what's going to be best for your particular problem that you've got. You know, I'd use this certainly on ornamentals and you know, roses, those sorts of plants here.
Yep.
I'd use this more for your vegetables.
Yeah, for your edible sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right, and then what we went into, guys, we've got some the old Australian natives, a huge range of Australian natives outside, which again we really do try to push and things like that, because we obviously don't clearly, obviously, you know, native to Australia. So hopefully one of those ones that you'll have more success in growing most conditions here, and certainly in Adelaide.
And they're quite topical at the moment. So, you know, at the end of winter, coming into spring, there's a lot of natives that sort of choose to flower at that time. And, you know, I've bred like a grevillea and a kangaroo paw, but there was plenty more out there that you could have a look at, all budding and flowering. So, you know, yeah, it's a good time to be choosing your natives, because you can sort of choose the colours of the flowers that you want to put into your garden.
And quite hardy, usually natives?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, maybe sometimes people get the wrong idea about natives. You know, you've got to plant natives because, you know, if they're native, they're definitely going to be that hardy sort of thing. You still have certain varieties of natives that probably don't suit specific gardens. But, you know, in all, I think that we try to make sure, because we're a South Australian-based garden, so that we have ones that will suit our weather conditions, our soil conditions. Yeah.
But again, same thing. We got really, really professional and great team members down here in garden. So make sure you engage with one of our Green Life experts and ask the question. You know, we're here to help for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
The only other quick thing we wanted to talk about, guys, obviously a pretty exciting thing next Saturday, Super Saturday event. And I don't know if you've heard of the block.
I've been watching the block.
Watch the block.
Absolutely.
So we've got a couple of good guys there, Robbie and Matt, that are going to be down here, specifically here at Jeps Cross next Saturday, for a few hours in the middle part of the day. So make sure you check that out. Check out our website. You'll see some social media stuff coming out about it. But get down, Super Saturday here, Jeps Cross. Always a fantastic day, and it's going to be a great buzz to see those guys in the store.
Yeah, Super Saturdays always work well for us, and you know, having a spring one, you know, nice weather, you know,
nice weather. We're gonna have some nice weather next Saturday.
Just cursed it for us.
Exactly
so
right.
It's going to pour with rain, but anyway, no, nice weather.
So we'll blame that on Phil if it's not nice weather, okay?
Whoops, sorry. And yeah, I mean, we've seen the drafts, and there's definitely going to be some fantastic offers on the day.
Yeah, which will all come out very, very soon.
Yeah,
guys.
for sure.
Yep. And then one of my favourites, lawn. We love the lawn. We love the lawn. I've actually just text Phil over the weekend because I was getting in because of slightly warmer weather, which is good. Fertilising. Then we had some good rain, which is always good as well to water that in. Good time to be making sure, if you haven't, get your thatching done in your lawn, which obviously gets rid of a lot of that dense, sort of thick lawn that's already on there.
It reduces that sponginess in your lawn. So it sort of...
It's a really strong mow, but you can get thatching equipment, I think, can't you?
You can get a thatching machine to take the thatch out, for sure.
And outside of that, just checking, I think we were talking about again, you know, if you've been lucky enough that during winter you haven't had to run your irrigation, making sure a test run probably happens very soon, just in case you go to turn it on for the first time during your spring and so forth, and all of a sudden you got these little geysers everywhere in your front lawn, or even in your gardens and stuff like that from an irrigation point of view, where you know a grub's got in, or a pipe's let go and you haven't really noticed. So make sure you're testing your irrigation now, and getting that prepped, ready to go for once we get into the full swing of spring, summer.
I guess one thing that sort of came out from our conversation at the weekend, we were talking about feeding the lawn and feed and weed.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So feeding's great. If you mow your lawn, you get it scarified or dethatched.
Yep.
You can definitely use like an organic fertilizer at the moment to sort of help encourage it on. The interesting one, I don't know if you knew it before, I'd sort of texted it through you, but when it comes to weed and feeds and that, you've got to be very careful with those sorts of products.
Okay.
So you can't use them on a freshly mowed lawn.
Yes.
You need to sort of wait probably a week after you've mowed it, just to make sure that the lawn's not going to get burnt from those sorts of chemicals. So,
cool.
So good time to be doing weed and feeds. But
lucky I text Phil because I was going to go the combo, thinking the combo was the great way. I was like, oh, weed and feed, liquid, and then I can put some organic on there. That'd be great. So no, don't do that.
So just and once again, all those sort of tips you can pick up in the garden as soon as you talk to the staff.
100%, guys. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing we wanted to do is obviously on more a personal note, the magnolia status, which I'm sure you're all wondering about the fact that I had what was it? A really
you have very limey
based soil,
very alkaline
off
soil.
the charts. So I've done the old iron chelate again. I've given them a slight prune and stuff, guys, because I did have the old little bit of dead action going. But I've got 5, and 4 have absolutely bounced back, and they're starting to show, and the 5th one's on its way. So next couple of months, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Me and Phil talk about it pretty regularly, so keep you updated, all right? Because I know you want to know.
And at some point, I'm sure they're going to want to see photos.
Oh,
mate,
photos, yeah. No, don't worry. We'll definitely we'll work with our digital team and we'll get some photos for sure. But once they're in good health, all right? So, you can see they bounce back like the original couple that I was really worried about. Just from an instant iron chelate and some pruning and some feeding of some organic, fantastically bounced back really well. So I definitely vouch for the old magnolias. Being quite hardy and really good.
Oh, well, there you go. Some good advice by the sounds of it.
Exactly right. Outside of that, I'll just encourage you, look, if you get out in the garden, like, nothing better if you've got, kids and stuff like that. I can only vouch for me, but that's, we love it. They get their hands dirty. We've just turned over the veggie patch. They love going out. Obviously, hopefully, in a few weeks' time, we'll have some fruit on there, which they'll love going out and picking that out and, getting all that together. So if you're an avid gardener, which hopefully you all are watching this, you'll know what I mean by getting out there, getting your hands dirty. Nothing better than a day in the garden and seeing those results after a few weeks.
Yep, it's very rewarding to see what your hard work does.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, see you next time.
Yep, see you for November.
See you for November. Thanks, guys.